You can be, do, or have anything you want if all you have to do is stop believing that you can't. That's actually a quote from Bashar. And I want to talk about the law in manifesting and the unfolding of why people have a difficult time letting go of how this could possibly happen for you, no matter how big, small, medium, whatever it is that you think it is that you desire. All things are possible with God, with you. Welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love and deserve, okay? I want to see you guys like rocking and rolling over here and keep the success stories coming. I'm loving them. So if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you already know what to do. All the information is down below. You can see how I coach one-on-one, or you can join the Rosey Life course and community, where I show up every week, Wednesday live at 12 p.m. Central, answer your questions, and I stay on there as long as you're on there. I stay on there and answer all your questions. And you can watch the replay because I record all of them, and you can watch them as many times as you want to. There's also a 12-part course in there, self-paced, for you to start practicing going within, because you guys, it is a practice to go from thinking you have to do things out here, fix people, fix things, fix yourself, fix situation. It's a flip to go within, because that is where your power is, okay? And this power that I'm talking about is a silent power, and that is why I named the video this, because your power is silent. It's not loud, it's not obvious, it's silent, which is why people start going, man, this doesn't work, or it only works for this but not that. It works for little stuff but not the big stuff. There's no way. There's got to be a catch to this. This is why people want to argue more for why it doesn't work, instead of realizing that this is a silent power that is within. It's silent, but don't get it confused. It is the most powerful thing there is ever, and it is within you, in your palm of your hand, in your reach. It's in your breath. In fact, it's in your word. Let's get to it. I want to start you with a powerful quote that I remember when I first read it, it shook me to the bones, and I couldn't read past the page because it really struck me in a very powerful way, in a good way, right? That I had to put the book down and allow myself to really process it throughout that day, and it stuck with me. And I would like to share a piece of that with you, and it's from the book from Ernest Holmes called Science of the Mind. And the part that I wanted to share with you is he's talking about the law, okay? And we're going to dive deep into the how and why you can have anything you want, because I want you guys to know this isn't just some magic trick. There's not some magic words, some magic formula. I'm not a psychic. I don't have potions. I don't have spells or none of that stuff. This is the truth of who you are, who all of us are, and no one is exempt. Everyone has this equal ability, okay? So we are dealing with something that cannot and does not answer back nor argue. The law knows nothing about disease. It only acts. Okay, I want to break this down a little bit, okay? Because he's talking about the law, and the law is the how, the unfolding of whatever you desire. Okay, so we are dealing with something that cannot and does not answer back nor argue. Okay, so we humans get to answer back and talk back and argue and discuss and pros and cons, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Let me find a tech. The law doesn't do any of that. In fact, the law doesn't even think. It doesn't have a mind. You have a mind. I have a mind. We all have God's mind. We are all in one mind, which is God's mind. The law doesn't have a mind. It doesn't think. I was telling the lady that does my eyelashes, Lash Nouveau in Chicago, if you guys need your lashes done, love her. Yes, I'm plugging her because she's adorable. But anyway, I was explaining to her, because we have these chats, of course, right when we're together, but when I was explaining to her that the law doesn't talk back, it doesn't think. For it to be powerful, right? It's kind of like electricity. The electricity, it doesn't care what you plug in. Like I've said before, you can plug in a toaster or a Tesla and it'll work. It just is always on for you. But it also, if you put your finger in there on a loose wire, it'll zap you. That electricity is not saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Rose, I didn't know it was your finger. I thought you were plugging in that toaster or that Tesla again. Do you see? No. It just zaps you because it just works. For us to be able to rely on electricity, right, we become very reliant on electricity, and we just plug in and assume it's always on, always available, no matter what we plug in. Yeah, there might be a little problem with a loose wire or whatever, but before you know it, it gets fixed. It always works. Do you see? The law is the same. For the law to be accurate, precise, and always working with no error, it must always work, and it can't think, it can't hem and haw, it can't argue with you, say, actually, last time you said this and now you're saying this, which one is it? No, it doesn't do that. It just stays on top of your command, on top of your assumption. Okay, so the other part of that is the law knows nothing about disease. It only acts. And in the book, he's talking about physical illness. In this part of the book, he's talking about physical illness, that the law, when it is commanded, meaning I create an assumption and I command these words to be, the law begins to work, and it doesn't see a disease. It doesn't see anything as incurable. But this also includes, it doesn't see your condition. It doesn't see your bills. It doesn't see your outstanding mortgage. It doesn't see that you need to meet certain people. It doesn't see that in order for you to get famous, oh, you need to meet certain people, or that's just not how the music industry works, or how Hollywood works. That's just not how the stock market works. The law doesn't see any of that. You do. The law doesn't. It's impartial. It's completely tunnel vision and just does it. It doesn't see problems. It doesn't see your conditions. It doesn't see how long it's been, nor does it care. It doesn't even have feelings. It doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings, emotions. It's impartial. That's the law. Let's get in deeper to this, okay? Spirit, God, okay, is your free will. So remember, you are created in God's image, and so you have free will. God is free will, and you are free will. You don't just have it, you are it. You are free will. There's a difference. It's not that you have it, you are free will itself. So mind is God, and that is that mind you have, it is God. So when you choose whatever it is that you want, the word that comes out of your mouth, the word is the truth, that the cause of it all comes from your source. The source is God, and you are a child of God. You and your Father are one, but your Father's greater than you, right? So you have all the power, you have all the knowing, you are present in all time, in anything and everywhere. You have this power, and what you speak, what you assume, what you declare, and you stay there, right? And that if you declare something and then you start bouncing around and you're just like, well, no, this is not going to work. And so all of that are assumptions. Remember, in another video I said you're a master assumer already, but you're just used to assuming the worst. But now you see, if I can assume the worst, I can assume the best. Do you see? So your assumptions, your word, the truth, right? Well, what happens next? So I assume something, and then what? You, with your power of free will, you invoke the law. In other words, you unleash it. That was the word I wanted to look for. Thank you. The law is now unleashed. That is your silent power, that you can't see it. And one day it came to me that it felt like, and I think it was after reading this, it felt like an arrow, right? An arrow, that the law is like an arrow that shoots from me, through upon my word, and I unleash it to begin the unfolding. The how, this is the action. In other words, law is, it just is. It doesn't have a mind or face. It doesn't it's not held back by time. It doesn't see any issue, problem, obstacle. The law is mind in motion or mind in action. In other words, it's your choice in action. In other words, it's the unfolding of your desire. It's the how. It's the unfolding, the how. It's all of that. For all of you wondering how, the unfolding, that's the law. That's the part of you that you get to unleash the law. You are the law. The law and you are one, but the law, it just is. And nothing can, you can't force it. You can't coerce it. You can only use it. And you use it when you assume. And then the law is unleashed. It's your power, remember. It is only listening to your assumptions. It's only behaving upon what you tell it to do. And what you tell it to do is also, remember, all good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. So if you're walking around saying this is not possible, you unleash the law. Boof, another arrow. Do you see? Bing! You're constantly unleashing arrows. That's your superpower. And this is invisible to you, and that's why you're just like, how? Well, this is your how. You have a secret weapon. If you want to think like superhero, right? You have a secret weapon or a magic wand that no one can see, but you have it and you know it. And this is what you put your faith into your assumption, and you trust that the law is now set out in motion and it's begun working for you. It is now unleashed. How fast it's going to happen? Don't know. This doesn't listen to directions on how. I've read this in several different metaphysical books, that every arrow, I'm going to call it the arrow. This is just my analogy of an arrow, okay? But the law, or every time you unleash the law, that arrow, right? Every arrow, every assumption, every declaration has its own mathematical equation on how it's going to unfold. The law already has all those equations. You don't have to concern yourself. Do you see how easy our job is? It's the law's doing all the work. We decide and the law does the work. You choose, the law does the work. That's why it feels like, well, what do I do? Assume. Stand in your assumption. How long? Until the law finishes and it unfolds it for you. Let the law work for you, because it's an obedient servant. That's what the law is. The law does not care. It does not judge on who or how the law is used. It doesn't care who uses it, and it doesn't care what you use it for. It doesn't think. It doesn't have a mind. It's not judging you. You're like, well, that's too big, or that's too much, or that's impossible. Like, get real. Can we get realistic on something that I can do? The law doesn't see any problem. It doesn't see any limitation. You unleash it, and it must obey. Do you see? So it does no thinking. It only acts on your assumption. It doesn't think. It doesn't judge. It doesn't hem and haw. It just acts. It just goes. So when you have an assumption, I want you to think about this, and maybe you'll come up with your personal analogy, and I'd love for you to share it below, because I love pictures and drawings and that kind of stuff. But for me, for whatever reason, this arrow is just like, it just feel the power of when I assume something, I'm just like, I feel that it's just unleashed from me. And now I know, I trust, because the law is impartial. It doesn't judge me. It doesn't think. It doesn't say you can't have that. That's too small, or that's too big, but what about whatever happened? And it doesn't do any of that. That's all you. And you're the only one. And every time you do that, and you're like, well, it doesn't happen because this happened. It's been this long. Now you're also unleashing the law to provide you with evidence of those assumptions that you don't want. And you're like, but I don't want that. But that's what happened. And so the law is like going back and forth. It's bing, 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 arrows, because you're saying, yeah, I want this, but then on top of it, you're saying, but I don't have it. You're like, bing, bing, I want it. Okay, cool. And it begins to fold, but then you're going, but your assumption that you don't have it and it's too hard, it's impossible, this is baloney, that trumps it out too. So that's the law working for you too. The law always works. It cannot not work. It cannot not work. Do you see? You have the free will and you set the law in motion. That is you. The law is you, your mind, your desire in motion. And it will. That's why Neville said, if it be long, wait, because it is sure. It is sure. There is no deviation. That is just like, ooh, I just got the goosebumps all over my body with that one. But that is sure. There is no if and buts or maybes. When? Don't know. How? Don't know. But it is sure. Okay, so by the way, I just want to thank you guys so much for the subscribers increasing and for you guys sharing my channel. I know you guys are sharing my videos. I see it and behind the scenes on YouTube, and thank you so much. I love you guys so much for sharing, and I wanted to share this with you. I noticed who's watching The Rosey Life? I noticed that 51% of people watching my videos are not subscribed, and 49% of you are subscribed. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for watching. But how about click and subscribe, yo? If you're going to watch, just subscribe. Show me some love. All right. So remember, I know I'm being goofy, but I'm so excited watching the channel grow. And you guys are so freaking amazing. But I wanted to share the law with you because you guys, when you get stuck in the how and how long and the unfolding, what you're doing is you're spewing out more arrows. You're unleashing the law to provide you more evidence of why it's not working and that it's taking longer. So how about you remember this silent power that you have within you, that you are constantly unleashing and sending out to go have things unfold for you. Do you see? And you can even look at that law like that. It's like as soon as you assume something, it already is unleashed. It begins its unfolding, and it has its own little mathematical equation that is unlike mine or yours or anyone else's. So don't even try to figure it out. Just trust that what your word is, that truth, that is who you are. The truth of who you are is that you are the cause of it all. Everything in your reality, in your experience, in your 3D, in your world, you are the cause of it. And your word is your wand, like Florence Scovel Shinn said in her book. Your word is your wand, and the law is unleashed to begin the unfolding for you. And all we ever have to do is be true and faithful to our choice, our desired end, and say, that is who I am. Thank you guys again for subscribing to The Rosey Life. Thank you for liking the video. And you guys are so cool with your comments are like on fire. Like some of the comments that are rolling around in these videos right now are giving me chills of joy, of happiness to see that you guys are getting this information. And my intention is to make it easy and playful and fun, and I understand where you guys, a lot of you are, where if you're learning and it might feel difficult at times. I get it. I've been there, and I really do. I get it. And sometimes I fall off the boat and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm playing the victim because no one else is. It's just me doing it, right? I get it, you guys. Okay, but just be persistent. Keep chewing it. And one of the authors said, when you chew food, in order for your food to be energy, you have to chew it and it has to process, right? And it metabolizes into your body as energy. And he was referring to studying the law and the truth of who you are is like, just keep your eye on who you really are. I am the all. Instead of trying to figure out from how many affirmations or what technique or process, you can go bigger and above it. And I've already said it in a bunch of my videos, right? That you just assume who you are, that I am one with God. I am, God is within me. Okay, that I am is who you are. And that law must obey anything that I declare and assume that this is who I am. Okay, so thank you again. And you guys, I love you so much. And I really do my best to answer every single one of your comments, because if you took the time to write them, I will take the time to respond the best that I can. All right, I love you guys so much, because you really are so friggin' amazing. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.